frequency need not be the same thing. One suffix can be very productive, apply to very many words, but it doesn't have to be per se very frequent. And I have a Swedish example for that. So in Swedish there are a bunch of suffixes that derive adjectives from almost everything. So if you can stick it on a noun or another adjective. Ig, you usually stick it on nouns. Al, you stick it on nouns. This one you can stick on both nouns and adjectives. If, you stick on nouns, and that you stick on verbs, and this you stick on verbs as well. So when I did searches, and there is a corpus of Swedish that is the Stockholm Medium Corpus, because it was designed in both universities, and it's a good corpus in the sense that it covers a good material and great many genres, so you get a fair idea of what you're looking at, and several million words. So the most productive suffixes are here. They are applicable to pretty much anything. But okay, they're the most frequent. Sorry, but they cannot. Sorry, I said exactly the opposite. These things, they cannot go in just any noun. Okay, so they're not as productive. These are very productive, but they go on verbs only. And this one especially is almost between an adjectives and a participle, and it's like the English ing forms. So they're not very frequent, they apply to many verbs. In this connection, there is like this distinction between type and token. The type is something that is connected to productivity, so a type, those would be like a type of suffixation for deriving adjectives, and these are tokenized because they produce individual items. I cannot give you Turkish examples for that, but you can think of like the English derivation of past tense. ED is very productive. If you look it up in a corpus and count, you will find that it has an amount of frequency, but the really frequent words are the strong verbs that are irregular. So the former ablates. So ED derivation in past tense represents a very productive type, whereas the strong verbs, the ablaut verbs, represent more tokenized items. Is this clear? Kind of? The most frequent things tend to be tokens. They go in specific words. And the argument is that these words tend to be remembered as whole forms. And I'm going to talk about this later in more detail. Whereas the more productive things are types. Not all of these words will be derived all the time. You don't remember them as word forms. You create them on the fly. I'll come back to that. So, analogy basically means that you have a packet and you transfer it to other words. So, in English you have the suffix et that derives nouns, and you stick it onto adjectives and you derive new nouns that are not necessarily traditional nouns. And again, you can chop a part of a word that can be analyzed as a morpheme and start producing new words in that. So from automobile you go to gas mobile, electromobile, and finally blood mobile. Blood mobile is the truck that goes around when they're looking for blood givers. And they give a shot. With productivity, two names need to be brought in. They are kind of old studies, but they're classic in the sense that they establish notions that give us the limits of productivity. One is Mark Aronoff. So he offered the insight that if there is already a word in the language, even if there is a productive pattern, the existing word will block that possible derivation. So there is nothing in the morphosyntax of English that prevents the derivation of cycler, better, studier, and stealer from the corresponding verbs, like to cycle and to bet and to study and to steal, because we already have words. I mean, you know, Aronoff is, you should, if you were going into morphology, you should read Aronoff and understand his notion of blocking, but it's not, I mean, if you look at all of these things, it's not entirely true that blocking always works. It works when you want to derive word that has exactly the same meaning of an already existing word. So you don't derive another cycler if you already have cyclist. But in Midsummer Night's Dream, Shakespeare talks about the fifth stealer, and he's talking about the little finger. And there are 5 stealers, and they're all fingers. Okay. And it's not the same as the agent thief. So it is possible to derive something, it's possible to derive synonyms. Okay? So the existence of a word does not necessarily block the entire derivation if the derivation is about a closer sense, but not the exact sense. Another person who talked about blocking and its limits, this is Laurie Bauer. Not a great morphologist and still active despite his age. So if a homonym exists, it will stop a derivation. So here I've given in French examples, and in French agents, this is the French correspondent of the English is the in French. So you're not going to have flyer, voleur, voler is the French word for fly. You don't derive voleur because you already have a homonym that means thief. Alright? So that blocks it, and that kind of thing will stop the derivation. So factors that will block productivity, they'll be if they break the phonological rules of the language. If there could be semantic reasons, could be pragmatic reasons, if they break the syntactic rules of the language, and then the kind of blocking that I just illustrated. Typically, productivity is measured by counting the applicability of affixes or specific operations in corpora or dictionaries. Those are traditional methods. Also, traditional methods is to do psycholinguistic experiments to have people recognize or produce nonce words. That's if you get like derivations of or with roots that obviously don't mean anything to the speaker. Obviously the speaker is applying a rule there. Or if they, when you give them a bunch of gibberish and you ask them, okay, this is an imaginative language, what could this possibly be? And they, oh, okay, well, this is this and that, and then you have evidence that what they translate is based on morphological rules. So that's the kind of stuff that is used to measure productivity. And now I'm going to go into the formal models that get more and more abstract. But what they are about is to see what kind of units can we possibly be imagined to carry in our heads, or how do we instruct the computer? What do we store in a machine? If we are to teach a computer how to speak, what are we going to give it? The approaches are we have morphemes. So we have chunks of meanings, and we combine those chunks of meanings by means of rules. Those rules usually need to be applied in a particular order. Okay. Those are phrase structure rules. The other approach is to say, no, with segmentation is too abstract, so we don't do it all the time. We store our words, and then we have awareness or non-awareness of patterns where these words fit. So there are two diametral approaches. I'll start by the rules. And if you get too exhausted, let me know, we'll take a break.